name is Daniel, and I work the graveyard shift at a small rural motel. It's the kind of place that feels abandoned even when it's occupied. The building is old, 2 stories high, and the walls have a habit of creaking and groaning as if they're breathing. My shift starts at 10 p.m., and I usually spend most of my time in the back office, watching movies on my laptop. Whenever a guest arrives, a vintage brass service bell on the front desk rings to let me know. That specific night, a heavy storm was lashing against the windows, and the parking lot was almost empty, save for a couple of rusted cars belonging to long-term residents. It was around 2 a.m. when I heard it. A sharp, clear ding coming from the lobby. I immediately stood up and walked to the front desk, but the lobby was completely empty. I figured a guest might have grown impatient and stepped outside, so I checked the glass front doors. The road was pitch black, and there wasn't a soul in sight. I shrugged it off, thinking the wind or the old building's vibrations had triggered it. I went back to my office, but exactly 10 minutes later, the sound returned, louder and more deliberate this time. Ding! I rushed out again, but the scene was the same. The lobby was vacant, the doors were locked, but this time the air felt unnervingly cold, and there was a faint, sickening smell of decay. A cold shiver began to crawl down my spine. I tried to convince myself it was just a prank, but who would be playing games in the middle of nowhere at 2 in the morning? I decided I wasn't going back to the office. I pulled my laptop onto the front desk and sat right behind the counter, determined to catch whoever was messing with the bell. I dimmed the lobby lights, leaving the room in a hazy gray shadow. Every passing minute felt like an hour. The rhythmic ticking of the wall clock started to sound like a hammer hitting a nail, and I couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were watching me from the darkness across the counter. The next time the bell rang, my blood turned to ice and my heart skipped a beat. I was sitting directly behind the desk, staring straight at the bell. From the gap right under the counter, the very space where I keep my feet, a pale skeletal hand slowly reached up. Its fingers were unnaturally long and thin. With terrifying calmness, the index finger pressed down on the brass button. Ding! The realization hit me like a physical blow. This person hadn't been coming and going. They had been crouching under my desk, inches away from my legs, for the last 2 hours. I didn't scream. I just bolted. I ran into the back office and slammed the door shut, locking it with trembling hands. I stared at the CCTV monitor with wide, watering eyes. What I saw will haunt me forever. From behind the desk, a tall, distorted figure in a filthy black hoodie crawled out. He didn't stand up straight. He stayed hunched over like an animal. He walked slowly toward my office door and began to turn the knob over and over. When that didn't work, he started thudding his head against the wood, rhythmic and mindless. By the time the police arrived, he was gone. But they found a jagged hunting knife under the desk and a stack of Polaroid photos of me, taken while I was sleeping on previous shifts. I never worked another night shift. To this day, whenever I hear the chime of a bell, I instinctively look down at my feet, terrified of what might be reaching out from the shadows.